All right, Field. I'm doing an armored car heist. Are you down? You in on this? We're gonna make a lot of money.
All right, let's do it.
All right, cool. Not all of us will survive. Mostly you.
What?
That's right. It's Wrath of Man.
Welcome back to Now Renting with Forgotten Cinema. And yes, we are talking about Wrath of Man. So you know how we like to do here. We like to give you 3 things each why we think you should rent this movie while you're on Row8.com. So Mike, kick us off. What's number 1?
Number 1, Jason Statham. He's awesome in this movie. He's usually, he's always an action hero, but in this, it's more of a thriller, and he's just more of a really scary guy. And I think that really works to his character. I think he plays this kind of like, you believe when people are afraid of him, and you should be afraid of him in this movie. It's not so much punch for punch, pound for pound kind of an action movie. It's more just like the way he carries himself and the way he speaks is really like you believe he's a man who can, do some stuff.
That's also my number 1, Jason Statham. Real quick, since you kind of described everything in the entire movie and you're not giving me any chance to say anything, this movie doesn't work without Statham. I think this movie needed a strong lead, and he is that strong lead. So why don't you kick it off with number 2 and keep it brief, for crying out loud.
My number 2 is Jeffrey Donovan. I think he's awesome. I'm a big fan of Burn Notice. And, the movie does have a little bit of a dual storyline going on with his character. And I just think he's a fantastic actor who's underutilized, underrated. And I love seeing him in movies where he gets these nice, juicy roles in these big movies. And I think he's a great character actor.
He is. And again, you're digging into my number 2, because my number 2 is the dual storyline. I do enjoy the fact that through the first part of the movie, you learn about Statham and what's going on in his life. And then you get the other flip side with Jeffrey Donovan and all his crew. I'm not going to reveal too much because I don't want to spoil everything, but I do like how the dual storylines kick off and then they basically merge at the end. Mike, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is the third act of the film. I really enjoy how the film doesn't really end the way you think it will. It doesn't end in the typical Hollywood fashion. It ends. It's a very dark film throughout it, and the trailers kind of don't do it justice in terms of the fact that this is not a thinking man's film. It's still a fun action film, but it is a little bit better. It's a little bit more like European style, and the darkness and the way it ends and the ambiguity of it all and the kind of gray area the movie plays in. I really enjoy it, especially shows in the third act.
So we should probably have compared notes, because while mine is not the third act, my number 3 is the actual fight at the end, is the gunplay. There's a huge scene at the end, a lot of violence, a lot of gun. I'm not supporting violence, but I enjoy in this movie. It's just a lot of nice gun action. It's really well done. It's really choreographed well, and I dug it. So I hope that you would dig it too. Mike, I think they would dig us. Who are we?
Well, we're Forgotten Cinema. We're a podcast about forgotten films that seem to be forgotten by audiences, whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time or the film simply didn't catch on with audiences in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, maybe don't love about it, but we always recommend you revisit it. You never know. You might find your own forgotten gem. We're available wherever you find your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, and on ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com.
Right. So you are on Row8.com right now. So click that rent/buy button that's right underneath this video and go on and watch Wrath of Man and tell them we sent you. Thanks again. This has been Now Renting with Forgotten Cinema, brought to you by Row8.
Nice. Let's go rob that armored car. Let's go.
Nope.